Erica Rigling here tonight from the Pacifica Historical Society and host of the show Footprints of Pacifica. We get together every week to discover and explore the lore and lore of lovely Pacifica, its character and its characters. The focus of today's show is Shopkeepers of Pacifica. And first tonight I'd like to introduce our three guests. Visiting with us are Mickey Kelly Montgomery of Adobe Heritage at the Adobe Shopping Center, Maria Ampola of Jewels Forever in the Lindermar Shopping Center, and Sarah Glue from Manor Music at the Pacific Manor Plaza Shopping Center. We'd like to start tonight with Mickey. Mickey has a few special things to tell us about the Wander Inn, and she has a special shirt here that she wants to show to you.
This was my father's bowling shirt. My father was Russell Kelly, and he bowled on the Wander Inn bowling team. And this behind me is a picture that his brother painted of the Wander Inn. My parents were good friends with them, and their daughter lived in a house next door to the Wander Inn, down that way a little bit. And we spent a lot of time there. My mom and dad were always there, and as little kids we were in there, and Maggie would feed us, and we had 4th of July on the beach in front of the Wander Inn many years. And I also gave the Historical Society his bowling trophy with the 4 men on it that bowled with him.
Well, thank you. Now, you came to Pacifica in about 1954?
In 1954, my parents bought their house when they were just building in Lindermar and paid $9,000 for their house. And there were no schools. We went to school in a row of houses that was called Odstad School. And then they built Pedro Valley School. I went there, and then they built Lindermar School, and I went there till I went to high school, and that was Terra Nova. And then when I graduated from Terra Nova, I went to beauty school, and I worked in a little shop in Rockaway for about a year, I guess. And then they were building the Adobe Shopping Center, and I got the job there. That was in April of 1970. And then there were 2 owners, and I myself bought the shop in 1989. And let's see. I've been the only person there since the shopping center was built. I think I'm the only one that's still there from the original people there. And there used to be a butcher shop, Camelot Fish and Chips actually was there, and I think they moved to Pacific Manor. I don't know if there was 2 places, or I think they actually moved to Pacific Manor. And a barber shop, a butcher shop. There was like a real estate office and a liquor store. And the businesses, some of them have changed. The liquor store is actually the liquor store is in the dairy now. And there's a nail shop and like a printing store, and and then they built Luigi's that would be in this one. They added Luigi's to our shopping center, the pizza place. And I guess that's about it.
All right. Maria, your business was first in the Fairmont Shopping Center. So yes. Would you like to tell us about your coming to Pacifica and you're starting your business there in the Fairmont Shopping Center?
Well, my parents and I first came to Pacifica in '75, right after I graduated from high school. and off and on, I've lived there. I've lived in Pacifica about 35 years, off and on, meaning after I got married to a very handsome fellow that even though we didn't know each other, and not realizing that we were both in the same business, we married in '88, and Philip didn't speak the language very well, so I thought that it'd be a good idea to start small. And my parents live in the Fairmont West District, and so we decided to go into the Fairmont Shopping Center. And in that center was a little shoe repair, and the owner of the shoe repair was Italian as well. So we kind of clicked, and Angelo invited us to sublease within his little shop, which was perfect situation because Philip didn't know the language very well. So we set up a little repair shop, and it's wonderful. Everything comes with time, and we started out small. All the clients that we had were most of them were from Lindemar. So they always kept saying, you guys need to come down to Lindemar. You can expand more. You should check it. And so we did. One day, Philip and I decided to go and see Lindemar Shopping Center. And there was a nice little store right at the end. There was...
Can you show this?
Oh.
Yeah, you have the Tribune article of when the shopping center opened.
Right here. This was when we opened in the shopping center.
Okay.
Right here. And this was in 1990 when we opened. In fact, my little girl was only 4 months old when we cut the ribbon here. And we were there for about 8 years, doing well, thank God. Our customers were very happy, that we were in town. And basically, we have a jewelry store, a full line jewelry store. My husband is the jeweler, and also he's the repairman and the watch repairman, jewelry and watch repair. So we were at this little shop for about 8 years, and next to our shop was the Town and Country Beauty Salon that was there for about 32 years. Mm-hmm. So when the shopping center remodeled 12 years ago, Pamela Shaw decided she was going to retire. So we moved in next door, big move, which was great because it was basically double the size, and we could expand more. And here's a few more pictures. Here's a man that makes it all happen. My husband, Philip Ampola. These are a few pictures of what the old shop used to look like. This shop here, right now, there's a cigarette shop next door to us, and that's what it used to be, what it is now. And this is what it is today. We've expanded to next door, so we're very, very grateful to be here in Pacifica. I've developed a wonderful clientele they've become our friends as well. We've gone through our ups and downs. We've gone through a roller coaster ride. We've seen it all happen, and but I believe the strength of it all is that we love what we do. We have the passion of what we do. We're the old-fashioned jeweler, and because of that, I think, and having good employees, We have wonderful employees. So that's what makes it all happen, when everything comes together in one.
Well, thank you. That was very descriptive of your move from Fairmont to Lindemar, and
Thank you.
then the remodeling of the shop there in Lindemar, and the remodeling of the Lindemar Shopping Center. Okay, Sarah, you've been in business the longest in Pacifica. What year did you come here, and when did you start your business?
I started Manor Music in 1965 in the front of Larry Kempfer's art gallery. And you have to really be an old timer in town to remember that era, but that was how I started, in the front of somebody else's store, which it came back to me when you're talking about that. You know, Maria, that's a wonderful story. We soon got on in each other's way because he had ceramics, and so the store next door became available. There was a lot of turnover in those days, and I moved into that, and we had records, music and books was the original idea, and then the music just took off because it was the 60s. It was just an amazing time to be in the music business, and that's probably material for a whole story right there. But
Sarah, what about this picture?
because it was the 60s, I was totally free to have my children at work with me. Everybody was in that mode, the children went everywhere. And that's a picture of my twins sitting on the counter in the store. And Maria has shared that she had her children in her store too. And it's kind of an interesting lifestyle. It's just, I was just always very relaxed. And this other picture shows one of my kids on a kiddie car, I think, going down in front of what is now the Save More Meats. There was a long passageway there before they built the Walgreens that's there now. And we gradually moved from one store, as each store alongside of me went somewhere else, we took over, so we eventually had 4 of those little stores in one. And we were just very, very fortunate. I've always had incredibly good employees, incredibly wonderful, wonderful staff that made things happen. And we went from just modest, a few instruments and a few records to sound equipment, guitar, you know, the whole music gamut. And now we have 5 employees, and we have 6 music teachers. And in '99 we moved over to what was the Pacifica Pharmacy. And it's a good thing we did, because we would have been thrown out when they built Walgreens. We were such a, I really found it important to be at the north end of town. I think it was very fortunate, fortuitous, just wonderful that we did actually open there, because by being at the north end of town, we've attracted San Francisco customers always, and from the Sunset and Richmond and that side of San Francisco. And also, the Daly City customers are more likely to come to Manor Music than they would have been if I was in Lindemar. Another thing about the Lindemar shop, well, another thing about Manor is, I guess we want to talk about the history now, right? Well, when we opened, there was Labor's Shoes, there was a furniture, Alexander's Furniture, the Safeway now, that was the Super X market. There was a Chinese restaurant Meiji's family had. There was an electronics store where Meyerhoff is now. There was, on the other side, there was a Moto Day. The Save More Liquor, I think, has always been there. Dick Smith was running it for many, many, many years. Everybody thought he owned it, but. And then Dr. Kagawa was in where there was a medical clinic there where that Thai restaurant is now. And of course the Tribune building was always right where it is. And I don't remember what was there where the You Save, well, let's see, You Save Liquors was yeah, that's always been there. But the businesses have almost entirely changed, with the exception of Safeway. And then we moved over, as I said, in '99 to this much larger building, which has been just absolutely wonderful. But we just have wonderful, wonderful clients, wonderful customers, and I've had the most fantastic luck with employees. That just very, very few exceptions. And in 40 years to have such a string of wonderful young people who just put their all into service and helping the customers. It's just, they really go out of their way to help people. We have, nowadays, I have Michael Devitt and Bray Gurneri, and both musicians, but also both very service-minded, customer-minded, and product-minded. And gosh, I think the biggest difference in my business, frankly, is the technology. We didn't even have, I mean, I'm sure nobody in this room can remember when there was no computers, there was no calculators, there was no transistor radios. I mean, it's hard to imagine that, but we sold records. I mean, records. Record players. All music stores had recorded music in those days. So I can't think of much else to add except that it's been a wonderful odyssey, and it's a wonderful, I'm glad I settled in Pacifica. Being at the north end has allowed me to attract business from San Francisco. So, and that was really crucial for a business like mine. Okay, is there anything else?
Okay, so have you thought of anything more that you forgot to say about your business?
Well, I don't know if I mentioned, I have one employee, Valerie, and there's just the two of us, and we work so well together. The customers they like both of us, and if one of us is gone, the customers don't mind coming to the other person. And I like it that way with just the two of us.
That's great.
And our customers, my customers, some of them are in their 90s now. I mean, I've been doing them for 40 years, a lot of them.
That's wonderful.
And they like our shop because it's comfortable and homey. It's not real fancy. And they like to visit with each other in the shop too, because so many of them know each other. And sometimes they just hang around in the shop and visit. They don't go home after they have their hair done.
That's how I happened to meet you the other
Yes.
day, was I dropped in to see a friend of mine who's been going to your shop for a long time.
Yes.
and
In fact,
got to meet you.
In fact, I was doing her hair in Rockaway when I first started.
Oh, okay. So, and Maria,
Yes.
what else do you want to say about your business?
Well, I just want to say that we pretty much do it all. We like to do designing, and we like to. My husband does stone setting and repairing and watch repairing. We also have an appraisal service. Although we're not gemologists ourselves, I do bring in a contractor that does appraisals. That's wonderful. It's by appointment. And again, you know, it's a family-owned business. My kids come in and help out. Not only, you know, when they were little, they just look pretty, and everybody used to love to watch them grow. But now that they're grown, now they're helping, and so customers just love that, you know. And that's what I enjoy, of the small hometown feel, and I'm grateful for the wonderful patrons that I've had through the years. 20 years is a long time, even though I'm the I'm the youngest one here. But 20 years is a long time for us, and we're going to be celebrating our 20th this December. So we're very grateful.
Well, I know I've been a customer for a number of years,
Yes,
and
you have.
mostly I need new batteries for my watch or something, or to get my ring tightened to make sure that it's okay, or get it enlarged if it needs to be enlarged. So people need to know that, they're happy to do little things for you too, and I know I can always, get the service that I need and trust them down there at the Lindemar Shopping Center.
Oh yeah, we carry everything. We carry gold, jewelry, silver jewelry, gemstones. We carry a nice wide selection of watches.
Yeah.
Okay, and so and beautiful clocks, beautiful clocks that adorn all the walls. So we try to give you a taste of everything, so you don't have to go over the hill, because what we have, we give quality service as well as product, and that's what we're very, very, very proud of.
Well, Sarah, I've known you probably almost
30
that
years.
long.
Yeah. We've known each other a long time.
My son when he was about 12, and he had his 50th birthday the other day. He bought his first guitar from Sarah, and he worked for that guitar, Sarah. I said that I'd match whatever money he made.
Oh.
And so he earned $75, and then I matched that, and he went over to your shop and he got a beautiful guitar. I don't remember the name of it anymore. But a couple of years later, he had kept it in such good condition that you gave him the full price on a new guitar, and I was always so thankful to you for doing that. He plays the guitar a lot right now. He has some of these little pickup bands that he does around town and so forth. So all of you are grandparents in Pacifica, right?
Not yet.
Not yet. You're not yet?
No,
I have-
my kids are-
He's only 12 years old.
my kids are younger.
I have 3 grandsons.
You have 3 grandsons. Do they live here in Lindemar?
Yes, they do.
They do. Okay, and Sarah, you've got
Well, my one grandchild lives in Berkeley, actually. He's over there with his
they're a
mother's.
joy. So I also wanted to tell you about or ask you about your rock camp that's there this summer. That's another thing that my grandchildren are enjoying, is going to Sarah's music rock camp there. Do you want to tell us something about that, just a little bit?
We actually started doing these summer music camps in the 80s when there was no music in the schools. We pitched in and provided music programs in the schools for a while there. We couldn't afford to keep it up because we had mostly volunteer teachers. They were all accredited teachers and so forth. But the music in the schools thing we didn't. But the summer thing we have maintained. We dropped it for several years, and now we've had it again for the last 3 years. It's a little hectic in the store, having 12 to 20 prepubescent males running around with guitars and making a lot of noise.
And some girls too.
We had 2 girls this year, and they're just a wonderful group. The parents are wonderful, and the kids. And Jay Mikolas and Mark Sessler are just stellar with kids. They're both just destined to work with children. They're very good with them, and they managed to get just the right combination of seriousness and fun to where the kids really do their best for them, and it just comes out wonderfully. Well, thank you for asking about that. That was nice. Yeah.
Well, when we were talking earlier, we were talking about special customers that you remember, and who was it? You were telling me about one special customer that on the opening day.
No, actually, it wasn't that. It was about a week before we opened, and I was having a hard time because they were putting up my sign in my window, and the gentleman that did that put the sign very, very low, and I just couldn't believe that he had done something like that. So I'd asked him, I said, we need to get rid of this sign and move it up because you want it to be seen. So as I'm fiddling around in the very front of my store, and this was the smaller store, not the big one, the smaller one, this gentleman comes by and introduces himself as Peter Buckley. And so he's asking me what I was doing. I said, well, we're the new tenants, and we're opening up a jewelry store. And he was just so happy that we were there. And then I said to him, I said, well, I guess you're going to be our first customer, aren't you? And he says, I'm definitely going to be there when you open those doors. 20 years later, we've become wonderful friends. His wife as well, Donna, and they're just wonderful people, and they look out for us. He comes in, he helps us. Many times he comes in with coffee, and we sit down, and it's just a joy. It really is.
Well, I want to thank our guests tonight. Mickey Montgomery of the Adobe Heritage in the Adobe Shopping Center, and Maria Ampola of Jewels Forever in the Lindemar Shopping Center, and Sarah Glue from Manor Music at the Pacific Manor Plaza Shopping Center, and ask you to come and see these wonderful ladies. They've been a wonderful help to me in the different shopping that I've done in Pacifica, and I really appreciate their willingness to come tonight and to talk about their early businesses here in Pacifica. Well, that's about all the time we're going to have tonight. If you want to get involved with the Pacifica Historical Society and our many projects, our website is www.pacificahistory.org. Thank you for watching our show, and remember, lives of great men all remind us we can make our lives sublime, and departing, leave behind us footprints in the sands of time. I've hoped you've enjoyed this series of Footprints of Pacifica. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was nice.
Thank you for having us.
It's running.
I think another thing that you